Hello, ladies and gentlemen, gamers and esports enthusiasts. I am Edward, an analyst from Niko Partners. Niko Partners is a boutique market intelligence and consulting firm that provides local insights and has local expertise for the Asia video game markets. And we also cover esports industry very extensively because we believe that esports is one of the main driver growth for the video gaming in Asia. I have the pleasure of introducing two esteemed panelists. Joining us today are Mr. Matsumoto and Mr. Umezaki. Please give a warm welcome to them. So Mr. Matsumoto is a senior associate at Japan's largest law firm, known as Nishimura and Asahi, who has played a part in shaping the current regulations and policy that helps to build the future Japan's esports industry. He is also an outside auditor of Well Played Results Inc. And for Mr. Umezaki, is the CEO of Detonation Focus Me, known as DFM. So DFM has recently won the 2023 League of Legends Japan League, and this is their 11th trophies and also 5th consecutive title since the 2020 spring. Before we dive into the panel discussion, I would like to bring your attention to a short presentation on the esports insights and data in the Asia region. So next slide, please. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first let us look at the esports in Asia. The Asia market share accounts for 52% of the 1.3 billion esports market, global esports market, and we see a positive growth of the audience size with a year-on-year increase of 17.4%, reaching 310 million in 2022. However, there is a slight decline for the audience in China, and that's from 434 million in 2021, decreased to just 400 million in 2022, yeah. So next slide, please. Okay, some of you might be wondering what are the current trends and inhibitors. We see a lot of excitement of esports at the international level, and as esports is being featured at the SEA Games and also the upcoming Hangzhou Asian Games, there is an increase of government support and also a wider national excitement revolve around the esports industry. And as the cryptocurrency, tech growth, and economy is slowing down, this means your company has to be more strategic to make the investment. We can help you to figure out where the opportunities are. Next slide, please. Now let us look at the China esports market. So the industry accounts for almost 65% market share in Asia. It is not only the largest in Asia, but also the largest esports market in the world. We are excited to see the prospects of the China esports market, as we expect the market will grow and will worth 473 million by the end of this year. So while the revenue and partnerships are growing, the streaming viewerships, which is crucial in the esports market, declined last year. It could be caused by several factors, such as the stagnation of the video game titles, and also one of the regulations in 2021, notably the regulations restricting all youth gamers at the age of below 18 to play not more than 3 hours per week. Yeah, this has an extent of impact on the live stream industry. So, next slide, please. Yeah, this is a very valuable data from our in-house streaming tracker. We track streaming across all 3 major platforms in China, Huya, Douyu, and Bilibili platforms, which there are regulatory restrictions for live streaming. As you can see, while there are the restrictions, we can see that PC games dominate total live streaming viewers and total live streamers and total keeps by more than 50%. Yeah, so this highlights the enduring popularity of PC gaming in China. So among the top 10 most streamed games in 2022, 8 were PC games, and 8 out of 10 of the PC games on the live streaming platforms that featured esports component. This showcased the significant interest among the live streaming audience towards the competitive gaming. Yeah. Next slide, please. So, as you can see, we are moving to the East Asia esports landscape. Last year, Chinese Taipei, Japan, and South Korea are the most mature gaming market. And although gaming is strong in all 3, Japan has the youngest esports market compared to the other 2. And despite the lower esports viewership among all the gamers, 62% of the esports fans attended an esports event, which is a very high percentage. This can be contributed to the high GDP in the nations and also higher purchasing power among the local gamers and esports fans. Next slide. Okay, for the South Korea's esports market, we see that South Korea generated 63 million in revenue and saw a strong growth despite its market maturity. This is all thanks to the high-profile wins at the League of Legends World Championship last year, and also strong partnerships and collaboration, contributed to the success. Next slide, please. Japan has the youngest esports scene among the 3 East Asian countries. It is seeing rapid growth, but has lower engagement with the esports compared to the 2 other esports markets. It is because of its first console gaming nature and also followed by mobile gaming and PC gaming. And esports is relatively new in Japan, so this presents a lot of opportunities. So Japan esports industry is looking for international investment in their esports ecosystem, attracting more international investors in organizing international esports events, and also sponsors the domestic teams to compete on the international level. This is a way to grow the esports revenue and also increase building the international relationships while building the domestic esports audience. Speaking about the esports opportunities in Japan, let's us turn our attention to the two experts, Mr. Matsumoto and Mr. Umezaki, on the esports landscape. Let's first talk about the esports overview in Japan. So for Mr. Matsumoto and Mr. Umezaki, what are your views about the esports landscape since 2018? Specifically, what are the changes in the domestic esports industry before and after the pandemic?
なので、e スポーツの環境に関しての変更、特に、2018年から踏まえて、そのコロナの前と後の環境をどういったような変更を起こしましたでしょうか。馬崎さんからお願いします。
はい、すみません、英語ができないんで、日本語で喋らせていただきます。コロナの前でいうと、日本の e スポーツというと、結構中途半端な伸び方をしていて、どちらかというとその日本の強みであるモバイル系アプリのゲーム系の e スポーツが伸びていましたが、コロナになってからやはりその家で自宅でゲーム大会の配信を見るとか、そのストリーマーの配信を見るとか、あと実際に自宅でゲームをするっていう文化が増えて、パソコンゲーマー層が非常に大きく伸びました。そのおかげもあって、まずパソコンスポンサーがどんどんそのチームであったりとかにスポンサーをするようになりました。
So first off, we'd like to just tell you guys that at first the esports environment in Japan wasn't very, very big. It was a little bit here and there, and on top of that, it was mostly based off mobile gaming rather than on PC gaming. But ever since Corona happened and a lot of people happened to be more, they had to be staying more at home, PC gaming started coming up. People start looking for immersive stories in their games, and that's when PC gaming started becoming a bigger and bigger thing with streamers and live streamers all over the place as well.
でコロナ後になるとそのパソコンゲーマー層たちが、それぞれいろんなパソコンゲームタイトルやるんですが、主にライオットゲームズが出しているバロラント、これが爆発的な人気が出まして、コロナ後に開催されたオフラインの大会では約2万人ほどの2万人超ですねを人を集めたオフラインイベントも開催することになりましたと。
Then, of course, amongst all of this, one of the biggest were the events held by Riot Games that held up to about a 2 million audience. And this is basically the biggest offline gaming event within Japan so far.
今まで日本はコンシューマー系、モバイル系が強かったんですが、今かなり PC 系の成長率が右肩成長しているような状況です。
So from this we can see that while Japan was always strong in mobile gaming, they've been moving towards PC gaming, and we can see that the ratio of PC gaming versus mobile gaming is moving positively up.
And most of the things he answered for that. So, but historically, Japanese people really liked playing video games. So so 88% of Japanese people have played video games. So there was a gap for the esports market was shrinked because there was a regulation problems and the PC, direct PC game problem. So for the PC market, so he answered, and for the regulation, I will answer the related questions.
All right. Yep, interesting. So with the current state of esports in Japan, what makes Japan a unique market? And this could be the teams, the fans, or the regulations that shape this ecosystem. Mr. Matsumoto?
Yep.
I know that you work as extensively with the JSU, and on regulations. What is the regulatory environment like now?
Okay, thank you. For the Japanese esports market, so as I say, the Japanese people really like play video games, and for the video games, it's a very huge market, but the esports market is very, very small. One of the problems was that the regulation, and from 2018, I was worked with the Japan Esports Union. It's a regulatory organization of Japan to work for the deregulated Japanese Japanese regulation to have the higher prize tournament. For example, maybe 2017, so there was a tournament of the Rainbow Six Siege from UBI Soft. They tried to provide expensive prizes for Japanese team, but there was a rumor about the Japanese people did not receive the higher prizes from the game publishers. So for that, Japan did not invite a lot of international events or international tournament to Japan. However, after we worked for the Japanese authorities to get confirmation there was no problem about to provide much prizes for players, so that we have a lot of international tournament. For example, Valorant Masters Tokyo, it's being held in Japan from now, in Tokyo. So we're gonna have a lot of prizes, and that prizes were distributed to Japanese pro gamers, and they get a high salary. So it was one actor for to accelerate the Japanese esports scene.
All right, and for Mr. Umezaki, as the CEO of one of the biggest teams in Japan, what are the unique characteristics of Japanese esports teams when compared to esports teams from countries like the US and China? They have city-based esports teams. So what are your takes on that?
で今、日本の最大 e スポーツチームの CEO として、日本の e スポーツチームの、特徴、他の国、アメリカとか、中国とかに比べて、どういった特徴がありますか？
今までは競技シーンのみに力を入れてたチームが多かったんですけど、直近でいうと競技シーンのチームと、あとそのストリーマーを融合させた変則的なチーム編成になっていますね。いわゆるそのスポンサー獲得するためにもいろんな選手のプロモーションとか必要になってくるんですが、やっぱり選手は競技シーン中心になってくるので、やっぱりそのファンに対してその B2B だけじゃなく B2C でどうやってセールスを売っていくかっていう観点からいくと、いろんなチームがストリーマーを集めるような形に今なっています。
Okay, so like with the esports team, usually they haven't really, they've just been on their own as an independent. And then now that they're starting to work with streamers and live streamers, especially online, is starting to grow and get bigger. A lot of sponsors, and the reason why a lot of these teams are growing bigger and bigger is because sponsors are getting interested and they're willing to invest. And that's why, that's the slight difference between, at least that's within Japan's at least.
でもう一つ言うと、今いろんな世界各地域でフランチャイズ、いわゆる本当に都市と一緒にチームが成長していくというやり方あるんですが、日本もここ直近 1,2 年でチームとその都市が一緒に、成長していくっていうところをやっています。例えばデトネーションだと日本の名古屋というところと都市と組んで一緒にそういった形もやってますし、ここにスカーズという大手チームは川崎であったりとか、そういう流れが非常に強くなってきました。
And then also like before we weren't really doing this, but now that the teams are becoming more city-based, so we have teams that, like for example with Nagoya, they work with the Nagoya city to promote the events, or to work with them to get esports up. And then like for SCARS especially, we are working with Kawasaki City, so these things are coming more and more up in the market.
All right. So from the unique esports teams, what about the esports fans? What do you think of esports teams that organize esports events for the fans? And how can that attract new fans and retain the existing fans?
なので、今はチームの話なんですけれども、ちょっとファンの話もしたいなんですが、そのファンの話に関しては、どんなふうに今のファンを維持することと、新しいファンを、つかめるというなんかきっかけとか、何かの、何をしていたのでしょうか。例えばイベントを開催して、ファンのためのイベントを開催していることとか、そういったようなことはありますか？
直近でいうと日本の e スポーツチーム、我々もそうなんですが大型のイベントをそのファンを集めるためのイベントをやるようにしています。例えばデトネーションだと名古屋でその三英傑というイベントがあるんですが、チームとストリーマーたちを集めてそのチームを分けてなんですかね、ロルをやったり、例えばホールガイズというゲームをやったりとか、そういうみんなで楽しめるコンテンツをそのオフラインで提供する、でファンを集めるっていうやり方をやってますね。
So, like you mentioned, yes, we do some fan-based events where these events are basically made to bring in more fans. And these are offline events where we bring in the players, both the players and the streamers, and basically they're able to interact. So we split them into like several sections, like maybe for League of Legends and all that, and then those people who are interested will be able to interact with the players and the streamers associated with those genres.
Okay, that's good. Right now, Mr. Umezaki and Mr. Matsumoto, so how do Japanese esports teams generally build connections with the top major sponsors and strengthen them? And what are the biggest challenges facing Japanese esports teams today? What are the challenges global companies need to be prepared for if they want to make an impact on the Japanese esports market?
なので、そうですね、日本のチームに関しては、そのスポンサーとの関係を、今までの関わり、またはこれから新しいコネクションを作るときは、どういったようなことをしておりましたか。またはそれに関しての、強調する、またそうですね、強く、そのつながりを強くできるようなことは何がありますか。
そうですね、デトネーションそのデトネーションフォーカスミーとしては結構そのナショナルクライアント、いわゆる大きなスポンサー大きな会社のスポンサーさんが非常に多くついてはいるんですが、その中で僕が意識しているのは単純に日本の e スポーツ市場ってこれから伸びていくんだよって、それを一緒に共に成長していくような形で歩んでいきませんか、いわゆる協業していきませんかという言い方をしています。なので単純にお金だけの関係じゃなくて一緒の仲間としてこの e スポーツビジネスを発展させましょうという言い方で長く支援をしていただいていますね。
So for me, especially, what we do is that when I find new sponsors or people who are interested, I approach them and tell them, hey, would you like to grow this industry together with me? We are on a same level partnership as a flat hierarchy. It's not purely a monetary customer to business kind of relationship. Everyone's on the same level plane. And so these people have a bit more, they're happier to work with us.
あともう一つあるのが結構日本のそういったスポンサーしたいという企業さんに多いのが、若者に対してのアプローチの仕方が分かりませんと、ずっとテレビでいわゆる PR コマーシャル打ったりとか広告宣伝してきた人たちが多かったので、じゃあ今その若者たちが今熱中しているものは何なんだと、それは最近やっぱり e スポーツという形で注目されています。
And of course, with the Japanese, especially within Japan, the elder generation is they don't know how to approach the younger crowd, especially. And now that they see that esports is coming up, they're like, oh, hey, look, esports is something that even the young people, the younger generation are getting into. Maybe we can get into this to get this as a foot in on how we can approach them. And that's how they get interested.
Okay, so right now we would like to hear what questions you would like to ask the panelists. Any questions about the esports in Japan? The mic.
Yeah, hi there. Fascinating insights. My question's not explicitly around Japan. I'd love to know kind of your this panel's take on emerging market more than the sort of mature markets we talked about here. Where's the next? Obviously, Japan is significant growth and relatively immature. Where are the other big bets in the region as far as esport goes? And what do you think is going to drive that growth in those other emerging markets?
特に日本には特定ではないんですけれども、地域的には、場所的にはどこから成長していくかを見ているんでしょうか。日本の e スポーツチームだけではなく、海外でもそうなんですが、ただ日本からの、地域的に今はちょっと名古屋とか福岡とかそういったような話が出たんですけれども、他のところとかどんどん出てくるところとかありますか？
Yeah, of course, Tokyo is the emerging city in Japan, so, and we have a lot of fun in Tokyo. Especially the younger generation, really like to watch video games or watch esports scenes. So Tokyo and Osaka and the major cities going higher, other than cities.
All right.
Yeah. Konnichiwa, hajimemashite. I'd like to ask of the regulations in Japan for the esports. I know it's very strict. By any chance, like in your perspective, will they be lessening like the restrictions in the future?
So for the future, I think that we have no material regulation in Japan. So it is a stage to invite a lot of international teams or international players to Japan. So, one thing is that the visa matters. So there is a necessary visa for international players to get prizes for the Japanese esports tournament. So it's a problem, I think.
Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Okay. Is there any questions? Yeah, last one. Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you for the questions, for the time. So I really love the insight from the Japanese market, but my question is, what is the game that are most popular in Japan for the esports? And what is the game that are most popular before that? Because what I know from Indonesian market, from Indonesian perspective, the Japanese esports market are just growing now. It used to be they used to play more into casual games and stuff like that, and then it just started growing right now. And that's the first question. The second question would be like, do you have any like intentions for Japanese esports team to expand, or Japanese esports market to expand to overseas? Because in Indonesia, the Japanese and for lifestyle and culture in Indonesia is growing. So it's the reverse of Japanese market in Indonesia. The Indonesian market is starting to adapt for more casual games that are popular in Japan. While they are started to grow, they started to grow with the esports game like Dota, chess game, Valorant, and stuff like that. Yes.
2つの質問があります。1つ目はその以前と今に比べて、どういったようなゲームの人気度の変動を知りたいんです。でもう一つは今は日本はどんどん、日本の中でも成長していることになっているんですが、例えば彼はインドネシアの中ではどんどん拡張していて、他の国からのものも取り込んで、チームを作っているんですけれども、日本のチームとしてはそういったような企画とかはありますか？例えば日本だけのチームではなく、海外から会社を拡大して海外からのプレイヤーも取り組むこととか、そういったようなことを考えておりますか
？For the first one, of course, the Japanese people like to historically like to fighting games. However, the younger generation really like to play the FPS like the Fortnite, Apex Legends, and Valorant as well. So and the PUBG Mobile as well. So I think in the future, the FPS is more popular in Japan, and fighting games is also popular like the Smash Brothers and Street Fighters like that. And for the overseas. You have answered the question.
海外について言うと、 先ほど話したファンを喜ばせるためのイベントをどうするかって話があったと思うんですが、例えばそのバロランドでいうと韓国で有名な DRX であったり GEN-G であったり T1 とかいったそういったチームたちを招待して一緒にその日本国内のファンの人たちにエンゲージメントを高めようというような形をやったりとかしていますし、うちであればもうどんどんそのビザを取ることが結構容易なので。海外の例えば韓国の選手であったり、例えばロシアの選手であったりとか、そういった選手たちを誘致して一緒にチームに合流して競技に戦ったりもしています。その逆もしかりで、デトネーションフォーカスミーとしては韓国の方に進出をして子会社を作って新たなマーケティング拡大に向けて奮闘しているような形になりますね。
Okay, so like for your second question, for example, if you're thinking about like expansion overseas, so currently what we have done is that DFM has like contacted maybe like DRX, who's well known in South Korea, and then we invite them as guests to to set up an event within Tokyo. At the same time, there's also the other way around where we send DFM over down to South Korea to create a fan-based event for the local fans in Korea. So the same thing happens overseas. Well, currently it's only Japan and Korea as the examples, but basically we create these fan-based events to allow fans to interact with players, not just from DFM, but from other gaming teams as well all over the world.
Okay, as we come to an end for our panel discussion, thank you Mr. Matsumoto and Mr. Umezaki for sharing the valuable insights. Thank you.